the week has arrived. It is Saturday, August 15, 2026. I am your anchor, Alistair, presiding over the desk of record. Tonight, we look at the intersection of progress and the void. The court system has issued a warning to litigants regarding the misuse of generative AI. The advice was clear. The application was messy. The result was predictable. In other sectors, major corporations are pausing essential medical services while international airports report record-breaking congestion due to regional conflict. We are told these are isolated data points. I have been counting the points. They are forming a rather aggressive shape. We will examine the gap between what was promised by our institutions and what was delivered to our doorsteps. It is a wide gap. It is a growing gap. It is, perhaps, the most consistent feature of our current age. Let us begin.
Alistair, I am reporting from Flores. The smell of dust and wet concrete is everywhere. It is heavy. It is persistent. I am standing near a structure that was labeled as seismically sound by the Regional Development Office only last year. It is now a pile of rubble. People are digging with their hands. They are not waiting for the official aid packages that were announced in the press release. The official statement described the rescue operations as coordinated and robust. That is the official version. The version on the ground is entirely different. I want to be really clear, the coordination is entirely local. The robustness is a matter of sheer human will. There are 38 confirmed dead, but no one here believes that is the final number. They do not have the time to update their logs. They have bodies to move.
Victoria, your focus on the individual is admirable, but the incentives here are not complicated. You see a tragedy in Flores, the markets see a supply chain adjustment. Look at the data coming out of Incheon. It is now the busiest airport in the world. Why? Because the Iran war has turned the Middle East into a no-fly zone. It is a pivot. A literal, geographic pivot. The airlines are not changing their routes out of altruism. They are doing it because the insurance premiums for flying over a war zone have become an unsustainable burn rate. The shift is just a product launch for the aviation sector. It is efficient. It is cold. Victoria finds this description offensive. She is not wrong to find it cold. But that is not the same as saying her emotional investment changes the price of a jet fuel barrel.
Ronald, your analysis of aviation economics is, as always, chillingly accurate. I am looking at a report regarding the French ambassador to the Central African Republic. He has been suspended. The reason provided involves the unauthorized visitation of dozens of women to his residence. Security concerns were cited. The security was breached. The residence was utilized. The ambassador was recalled. It is a classic bureaucratic breakdown masquerading as a scandal. We have a diplomatic corps that cannot manage its own guest list, yet we trust them to mediate international relations. The irony is not just present, it is foundational. The ambassador had a protocol. The protocol was a suggestion. The suggestion was ignored. Nobody in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is surprised. They are merely tired of filing the paperwork for yet another incident of high-level incompetence.
Alistair, while the ministry manages its guest lists, I have found something interesting in the plasma clinics. Grifols has paused all collections in Canada. They say it is a voluntary safety pause. I want to be really clear, the government investigation was already knocking on their door. 2 donors are dead. The press release calls it a temporary operational adjustment. I spoke to a clinic staffer who was fired this morning. She told me the pressure to hit collection targets had become an existential requirement for the branch. They were not just collecting plasma. They were harvesting survival. The donors were often people who had no other way to pay rent. The system was designed to extract value from the desperate, and now that the desperation has resulted in casualties, the company is hitting the snooze button. It is not safety.
Victoria, you are describing a classic failure of quality assurance, but you are framing it as a moral crisis. The incentives here are purely actuarial. If a donor dies, the liability cost eventually exceeds the revenue generated by the plasma. That is the point where the corporate entity stops the bleeding. It is not an act of conscience. It is a spreadsheet correction. The staffer you mentioned? She is a market inefficiency. She was paid to ignore the risk until the risk became a headline. Now that the headline exists, she is being discarded to protect the firm's overall valuation. It is the same process we see in the tech sector with those water utility hacks. You don't secure the infrastructure because it is right. You secure it because the hack started impacting the quarterly earnings report. It is pure, unadulterated, mathematical necessity.
Atmospheric pressure is dropping. Rare cloud formations detected over the northern hemisphere. These clouds occur at lower altitudes than standard meteorological models predict. Identification efforts are ongoing via the Space Cloud Watch project. Probability of increased volatility, 84%. The data indicates that current environmental baselines are no longer stable. The sensors are functioning within design parameters. The atmosphere is not. We are tracking a drift in the jet stream that matches historical anomalies from the 19th century. The system is operating as designed. The environment is failing to maintain its previous state. Public safety advisory. Please keep your photographic equipment ready. The clouds are appearing in locations previously considered inhospitable. There is no record of similar occurrences in the last 50 years. Please remain indoors if the sky color shifts toward a deep, unnatural purple.
Casper, thank you for that unsettling assessment. I am turning my attention to the legal world. A man attempted to win a court case by injecting prompts into his filings. He treated the courtroom like a terminal. The judge warned him that chatbots are not legal counsel. The warning was ignored. The litigant was desperate. The law was applied. The result was a total loss. This is the future of jurisprudence, a race between under-resourced litigants using cheap AI and judges who are trying to maintain the fiction of human authority. The man wanted a shortcut. The shortcut led to a wall. Nobody is shocked that the tool failed. Everyone is shocked that he expected the tool to care. The prompt was executed. The law was not impressed. The system remains closed to those who do not have a license to operate it.
Alistair, I am still in the rubble. I just saw a search team recover a tablet from the debris. It was still running. It had a Read It Later app open on the screen. Pocket is shutting down, and someone here was trying to save one last article before the building came down. It is a detail that feels meaningless, yet it is all I can focus on. The absurdity is not in the disaster itself. The absurdity is that we are trying to curate our digital archives while the world beneath our feet is physically shifting. I want to be really clear, the digital world is not a shelter. It is just another space to lose things. The person who owned this tablet is gone, but their saved reading list is still sinking to a cloud that will be inaccessible by October. It is a perfect metaphor.
Victoria, that is the most honest thing you have said all night. Yeah. The digital world is not a shelter. It is a ledger. And when you stop paying the hosting fees, the ledger is deleted. We are all just temporary entries in a database that will eventually be purged to save on server costs. Look at Google allowing users to remove watermarks from AI-generated files. They are essentially telling us that the distinction between reality and machine output is no longer a feature they are willing to support. It is a pivot toward total informational entropy. They are not hiding the AI, they are hiding the fact that they can no longer tell the difference themselves. The incentives here are obvious. If truth is too expensive to index, they will simply stop indexing it. We are living in a post-verification economy. It is very profitable.
Ronald, the entropy you describe is becoming the default state of our infrastructure. The Met Police have apologized for a data breach involving the victims of Al Fayed. They included the email addresses of all victims in a single, unencrypted update. The intent was communication. The result was an exposure. The breach was described as a human error. This is the 14th human error I have logged this month. I have been counting. The police are the ones who are supposed to protect the evidence. They have instead turned the victims into the evidence. It is a spectacular failure of basic digital hygiene. No one was held accountable because everyone was responsible. When everyone is responsible, the system is perfectly safe from change. The breach was a mistake. The mistake was a pattern. The pattern is now the operational standard for London.
Alistair, you talk about accountability as if it were a currency that still has value. It is not. It was devalued years ago. Look at the US water utilities. We know they are being hacked by state-sponsored actors. We know the security is non-existent. We also know that the cost of fixing it is higher than the cost of just letting it happen and paying the insurance claim. The incentives here are not about safety or service. They are about maintaining the illusion of a functioning state while the underlying assets are liquidated for parts. The hack is not a bug. It is a market signal. It tells us that the utility is a depreciating asset. We keep waiting for a hero to fix the system. There are no heroes in a startup economy. There are only founders, exit strategies, and those of us waiting for the final liquidation notice.
I am thinking of the person in Flores who held the tablet. They were reading an article, perhaps about the very things we have discussed tonight, about the climate, or the economy, or the shifting tides of the world. They had a collection of thoughts saved for later. Now, there is no later. Their tablet is a piece of glass and silicon beneath a pile of stone. Their list of interests, their digital soul, is fading into a server that will be erased. They do not have a name in the news reports. They are not a statistic in an insurance payout. They are simply an absence. We build systems that are designed to endure, yet we fill them with lives that are so easily forgotten. When the servers are finally turned off, what will remain of us? That is the question I leave you with tonight.